I look after the safety of this area and also to check the air hoses and make sure everything is ready to go and instruct the kids on how to pull the lever when the cannon is being fired.
How long have you been involved?
Since the beginning, 10 years.
So what's different now than it was 10 years ago?
Well, 10 years ago we used a trebuchet, which is some device from medieval England that was designed around 1100th century, and of course it required quite a lot of strength to pull it down, and by the next day most of us were hurting pretty bad. And the following year we actually introduced the air cannon, and the air cannon has grown. Then we only had the tank and a barrel, and we had to tilt the trailer, and a man by the name of Mr. Howe actually built the frame, and we were able to angle it and change the direction very easily now. We did everything by volunteers, and a lot of equipment was volunteered, so I think there's about $1,000 to $2,000 in the last 10 years invested into the cannon itself.
Who came close? Oh, that looks good.
Nope, far right.
I think we're all kids at heart, especially me. I think the adults get just as much enjoyment out of it too. Of course, my aiming technique over the last 10 years, you see the target, it is out there, about 1,000 feet off the harbor here, and haven't hit it yet. I got a 100% record.
There you go. How many pumpkins you figure you fired at it?
Over the 10 years, probably 1,500. We just had a tourist come over. We just fired louder because she had to travel to PEI. She's from Ontario. She gave us $5 because they were eating dinner there when we did a few test firings, and she just loved it and she wanted to try it, and we fired it up for her early and louder, and she probably has a thrill of her life going to PEI, and she's got something to tell her grandchildren. We've measured it. It can probably go 12 to 1,400 feet. As you can see, the barrel is only a certain length. If we lengthened it probably about 4 more feet, we might be getting through some of the windows on the other side of the river here. She's quite capable of probably going, if you design the barrel properly, she's probably quite capable of 2,000 feet. Yeah, it is a time to have fun for the kids too, but they can also see the sciences, and this is not really rocket science. It's basically, it's something that's over 100 years old, the idea of the air cannon itself, but it gets people thinking about the physics behind it, and who knows, maybe some child here will look at what we're doing today and say, well, they're going to take the sciences.
Not an artillery man, but I understand that 45 degrees is the optimum angle for distance, so we have an inclinometer here, which is just basically a magnetic angle finder, and it's set at 45 degrees to give us the longest possible distance. We have a pressure gauge on the tank. The tank is rated at 125 psi, and we normally run it at 80 to 90 psi, but you know, we can crank it up if we need to. What else? I guess the actual valve mechanism is inside this part of the barrel here. There's a slider that gets triggered by the air pressure, and when we release the air out of this valve here, it allows that slider to move and remove the restriction, so all the air that's been compressed and stored in this tank comes out and up that barrel, and it takes the pumpkin with it. And it's amazing to see how far it'll go. When we first set this up years ago in our shop, we fired it, and basically the pumpkin came to the end of the barrel and fell on the ground. And we brought it here and tried it, and it worked perfectly. So just a matter of trial and error and tweaking things until it works. Normally the skin seems to be resilient enough to hold it together. Now if we have an oversized pumpkin over here, we have a pumpkin trimmer to reduce its size so it'll fit in the barrel. And you often notice that those pumpkins with some of the outer skin removed will become pumpkin pie as soon as they exit the barrel. They just blow them apart. Sometimes they stick together. But so it's important for us to try and select pumpkins with just the right size so that they will fit in the barrel and the air won't bleed past it on the way up the barrel as it fires. Seems to me if we were to do something really smart, people would stay away. But if you do something that's a little kooky or why would anyone be standing out in the rain doing this? It just doesn't make sense. That's what attracts people, I think. It's just out of the ordinary. It's fun. There is no harm done. So I think that you have to be a little off the wall to get the interest of the people.
It's a rainy day, but we're still having fun, and we just found out that the counselors for the Association of Engineers and Geoscience donated $500 just because it was a rainy day. So to top off our funding, but we're going to reschedule for tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And but we're firing a few cannons out. Overall, if it wasn't for the weather, we'd do well, but we always raise about $1,500 for the kids' breakfast program. But we're gonna for the first time reschedule tomorrow at 1 o'clock, unfortunately. But I got to taste some chili because I never had time, and I had 5 choices of chili from the Rotary Group, you name the Donahues, and I think I picked number 3, and it was great. But I think it was a choice between number 3 and number 5. But we're still making money today for the kids' breakfast program, and still a good time. The students are coming back tomorrow to volunteer for the event too. So.
McDonald Buick GMC